Okay folks, hello and welcome to the first proper cooking video that has been on this channel. So tonight it's midweek, it's about 5 o'clock, and I'm going to show you how to do something that I do regularly, a meal that will last a few days. So tonight we're going to make rice pudding in the Ninja cooker and a corned beef hash in the slow cooker. So I'll show you what we're doing, we'll go step by step. If there's any feedback on this video when you've watched it through, if there's anything you'd like me to put in the comments, if there's something I've missed out, this is a bit of a trial run, so please let me know. Follow along with me. I've cooked for years and years since I was really small. I'm still really small, but since I was a kid. So let's see how we get on, and if there's any questions, just drop them in the comments. I'll be really happy. So let's see how we get on. Okay, so the first thing that we have done is we have our crock pot. In our crock pot we have stock cubes, 2 beef, some mixed herbs, a little bit of Aromat and a tiny bit of salt. With a corned beef hash you don't need too much in terms of salt, because the corned beef itself, we've got 2 different brands, it's what we had left in the cupboard. Literally we are coming to the end of the month, so we use what we've got. You don't need a lot of salt because the corned beef itself is actually quite salty already. To that we're going to add some onions. So this is one of the last onions in the fridge. Again, just little bits. It doesn't need to be massively diced up because everything is going to soften as it cooks. And then once we've diced this up and got it in, we will put some hot water in it, turn the slow cooker on, and we can add our veggies. So into the pan there I have just added 1.5 pints of boiling hot water. A lot of controversy over spoons. I prefer my wooden spoons, I'm very old-fashioned. I still cook in pounds and ounces, although I will try and convert to grams for you guys. And I do like my wooden spoons. They are disinfected after every use, so let's just let people know that we're not disgusting. Okay, so what else we're going in here? A couple of tomatoes. They were left over in the fridge, so this recipe is great for using up those last few little bits of veg that you have in your fridge at the end of the month. This will make enough for tonight's tea, tomorrow's lunch, and if you pad it out with a bit more veg tomorrow, or some more stock, or some bread, it might even do tomorrow's tea. Everything is so expensive these days that batch cooking really can help save money and save kitchen wastage. I've also got a couple of carrots and some potatoes. So these are just, again, what's left over. They're already peeled, I didn't think you'd want to go through that. So I will chop those up now, pop them in, and then we will move on. Okay, so we're all diced up. Again, they don't need to be into fantastically neat chunks because it's a slow cooker and everything will start to soften. The potatoes help cause thickness, so if you're making a soup, if you use your, they call it a mirepoix, so your celery, carrots and onions for this flavour, but then if you add a potato it acts as a natural thickening agent for the soup, and it does the same thing with this. There we go, so that's everything in there, and that's all we need to do with that for the next 3 or 4 hours. Just let that cook. I've got the slow cooker on high. When that has cooked for about 3.5 to 4 hours, we will add our corned beef. You don't add your corned beef too early, otherwise it will be absolute mush by the time you come to eat it. You want this to cook down and start to thicken, then you add your corned beef. So we'll clear away this and then we will jump on to what we're doing with the rice pudding. Okay, so cleared down, and we are just going to pop our rice pudding in here. So this is a Ninja cooker. It does air frying, grilling, roasting, everything you want. It's a bit of an all-round thing, but the great thing with these is they have this lovely deep pan, which I have washed out, and that can be used for doing rice puddings. It's like a secondary slow cooker. So we're going to pop it on. We are going to go down to where it says bake. Let me show you. So you can see on here all of these different settings. We want it on to bake. we are going to set a timer for 6 hours, which is about right for everyone coming home from work. And our temperature onto 80, which again, nice and low, but not too low that it doesn't cook. Rice you need to cook thoroughly through. So that's set on to bake now. Okay, so the recipe I'm doing today is a little bit different. I don't have any cream left, but again, this is a great recipe for things that you will have in your cupboards. Pudding rice. This one is 89p from Asda. You can get them in most supermarkets, places like B&M, all those kind of things. And we're going to do just below 1 cup of pudding rice. Okay, rice in. With rice puddings, I either say you want to go 2 or 3 times the amount of liquid as there is rice. So we want 1. Bear with me, just opening another milk. 2 milk. And we're going to put 1 cold water. So we've got 1 cup of cold water. Okay. Different wooden spoon, just to prove it I do have 2. Different wooden spoon. These are great because they don't scratch. Please don't use metal spoons in your crockeryware. They're for eating, especially with things like this. They have a lining on. If you use a metal spoon, metal fork, you're going to scratch all of that anti-stick surface. Oh, it goes through me. It's one of my pet things. It absolutely goes through me when people scrape things with a metal spoon. Not much will happen with this at first at all, because there's nothing to happen. It's not started yet until I turn it on. To this, we're going to add to start with, I can find my measuring tablespoon, 1 tablespoon of plain white granulated sugar, and then we have ginger, because it's getting into winter now, so we like a little nip. Literally a sprinkle, some cinnamon, again at this point just a sprinkle, and give it a little stir again just to get those spices and flavourings in. And then we leave it. So that will go on. Initially we'll leave that for about an hour and a half. And when we come back, we'll have a look, see how everything's getting on, and add to the next things. So I'll shut that, start it. Off we go. That is ready to be cooking for the next, let's say, hour and a half, and we'll come back and check. So thanks for staying with me so far. We'll catch up in a while. Okay folks, so we are back. It's been a couple of hours. Let's have a look. So you can see everything's starting to cook and soften. Give that a little push, you can see they're starting to soften now. Still needs a bit longer yet before we can put the corned beef in, but we've got time. It smells beautiful. So that's going well. And then, let's have a little look in here. This is our rice pudding. Doesn't look like much yet, but that rice is starting to thicken. So very gradually, God, that is starting to thicken. That'll thicken up, absorb all the liquid, and we'll have a rice pudding. So that's how long we've been, 2 hours and 15 so far. So the next check will be when we put the corned beef in and finalise the rice pud. Right, we are back again. Final stretch for this one before it's ready. So see, all this has softened down beautifully now. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some cornflour and warm water, which will thicken it up. So I'm just going to add this. You can add this to meat stock when you've cooked your Sunday roast, soups. It's a great thickening agent without it adding any flavour. As you can see, that's already starting to take more viscosity, thick, I think is the word. Thick texture. And then down here I've just chopped up 2 tins of corned beef. He's very interested in the corned beef. I'm just going to add that into the pot, give it a right good stir, and then we will check on our rice pudding. So again, this doesn't need to be chopped up massively, and because it's already cooked, we don't need to worry about it cooking more, warming through and flavouring what we already have in the pot. Corned beef used to be a very cheap meat because it was made with the offcuts of like your Sunday joints and that kind of thing. However, with the price of things now, if you do use corned beef, this is a great way of getting your money's worth and making it stretch, because it just doesn't last. If you put it in sandwiches and things like that, it's just gone before you know it. So as you can see, they're just various different sizes, all chunks. I'm just going to give that an incorporation into the veg, that lovely gravy. Okay, so I've just cleaned up the surfaces and moved a few things. Last thing I'm going to pop in is a little stock pot. So, get that out to use. And that's just going to add a bit more of a rich beefiness to this. It's already got a lot of flavour in with the vegetables and the herbs and things we put in before, but it's always nice to have that little bit of extra flavour. And then we'll leave that now for the last couple of hours to thicken up. Let's have a look at our rice pudding. Let's move over here, have a little look what's going on in here. So we seem to have lost a lot of liquid, but it's not incorporated much into the rice. Those bits you can see are just the collection of the spices and things, cinnamon. So I wouldn't worry about that. I think I am, however, going to add a little more milk to that. Right, so I've just put another couple of cups of milk in, so the rice is thickening up, but it's not quite thick enough yet. So I've put a little bit more liquid in, and we will come back to that when we dish up tea. Okay, so we have just checked on our rice pudding. I've just added a bit of mixed spice to it. As you can see, it's actually starting to form a rice pud now. So what we're going to do is add a little bit more milk and stick that on for another hour, so it'll be ready when we finish our main course. So I'll add a little bit more milk to that, and then we'll have a look at the stew. Okay, and it's time to have a look at our hash. So as you can see, that meat's fully incorporated and it's actually thickened. However, I am going to add just a spoonful of gravy granules just to thicken it up a tiny bit. Okay, so we didn't have any gravy granules, so we're just going to add a bit more of our cornflour mix to it. Should be enough to thicken it through. It's getting there, but it could just do with being a little bit thicker. It smells, I can't even describe how it smells beautiful. As you can see, the lumps of corned beef start to disintegrate. They mix with the soft potato, and that forms your lovely thickness as well. So I'll give that another 5 or 10 minutes, we'll dish that up, and we shall be about there. Okay, so we are going to dish up our corned beef hash. I have my kitchen assistants here now, he's home from work. So, oh, it's nice and thick now. So we'll get this dished up. and we will see what he thinks. So I'll come back in a second and we'll see what he thinks. Right, there we go. The finished product. A nice, warm corned beef hash. See what Jason thinks. Okay.
Oh, look at this. Think there. Oh, banging.
Banging.
Beautiful, that. Just what you need after a shift at work.
So yeah, this will last. It'll certainly do tonight's tea and tomorrow's lunch, and then we will see what we've got left and what we can do with it. We'll be back in a moment with the rice pudding. Okay, so we are just sorting out our rice pudding. It's done, so I'm just adding, don't have any cream, so I'm adding some evaporated milk. So we only put a little bit of sugar in this because evaporated milk is sweet. So it's just going to add a little bit of sweetness, and it works really well with the spices, with the seasoning, the ginger, the cinnamon, the mixed spice. I'm literally just adding condensed milk. It has finished cooking, so you put this in at the end when it's finished, just so it's got time to work through the warm rice. Some people take the skin off their rice puddings. All the best taste, in my opinion, is in the skin, so I've left it up in and just stirred it through. So we'll get this dished up and see what we think. I'll have to film this.
So here we go, all dished up. I'm just putting all the extra into a dish so it doesn't stick in the pan.
Again, batch cooking. There'll be enough there for another couple of portions tomorrow.
I'll go and give it a try.
Okay folks, so there's rice pudding. Let's see what Jason thinks.
It's like the rice pudding. It's nice and rice pudding, but it's got a kick of like Christmas cookies. It's cinnamon and ginger and oh, it's all fuzzy in my belly.
Nice.
Lovely.
Okay folks, thank you so much for watching, for joining us. If you've got any comments or questions, pop them in the boxes below. Thumbs up if you like this video, if you'd like to see more of this thing, more of cooking. I'm going to be sharing some anyway and some baking as we go. But thank you so much for watching and joining the channel. I will see you on the next one. Take care, bye.